And we are recording. What is up, guys? It's your boy MumboElite. We got another guest on the Elite Are We podcast for today. Want to introduce yourself? Let them know who you are.
Absolutely. Yes, of course. My name's 1440 Blank. You can call me Blank. You can call me Oscar. It doesn't really matter. But I've known Mumbo for well over coming up on like 2 years now,
Almost two
maybe a year and
years,
a half,
yeah.
something like that. But yeah,
Crazy.
I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. So, just to get an understanding of how this podcast is going to roll, we got some topics to talk about, such as like YouTube, the state of YouTube, advice to people who maybe are trying out for the first time or trying to get into creating content and trying to hit that new threshold of, I don't know, I think is what, 4,000 hours and 1,000 subs to get monetized now or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
We would love to hear your guys' opinions on everything. The way I'm gonna start doing this is I'm gonna start with some just like fun topics to talk about. Then we're gonna really get into like the truth about YouTube, the truth about a lot of things. So that's gonna be more towards the end. If you want to have a civil conversation about that in the comments, feel free to let us know your opinions. But for the people who are just here to give a quick opinion without listening to the podcast at all, feel free to comment now. Besides that, we're just gonna get started. Larky, what is your favorite video game to play at the moment and why?
Um, at the moment, it's a tie between Call of Duty and RuneScape, and here's my reasoning behind that. Okay,
Okay.
so with Call of Duty, as you know, I'm set a challenge for 2018 to get into the grind squad with Optic Pomage and Optic Sprat. So I guess really just to be recognized by
Yeah.
them and in the sniping community. And so I play the heck out of Call of Duty
Yeah.
at the moment. I have a lot of fun with it. I've been a fan for many years, and so I don't know. There's something about sniping that keeps the game fresh
Mm-hmm.
and new for me. And then RuneScape has been a game that I've played for again many years, but it's completely different from Call of Duty. You have levels. It's an MMO RPG. You go in, you can slay dragons and things like that. There are quests, and so for me, it's just one of those games that's like really grindy in the sense that there's like 99 levels for a skill, and if you make it to level 92, you're halfway to 99 as far as experience is concerned.
Jeez.
And so it's just one of those, yeah, it's just one of those games where you really have to go in and you grind and you have to put in a lot of time. And so I don't know, it's just one of those things where I can sit back, relax, watch some streams, talk to people, and still play that game and enjoy it. And so I don't know, those are my two favorite games at the moment right now, and yeah, we'll see where what happens here in the next couple of months.
RuneScape's free, right? Am I correct by saying that?
Yeah, so there's a free to play version which unlocks, I would say, like 25% of the skills,
Oh yeah.
and about 25% of the map, and then again, not even I'd say like 5 or 10% of the all the quests that you can do. And so it's just to get you sort of used to how the game is played, what you can do, just that leveling system, that quest
Yeah.
system. And then you really get into the meat of it when you're multiplayer. Now, you can pay physical money if you want to. I don't know the prices because I don't pay physical
Yeah.
money. I actually use in-game currency. And so, if you're patient enough and you're willing to gather that money to purchase yourself a bond and gain membership, you can do that. And so the first initial, I think it's like about 3 million gold coins, like in-game currency, to purchase one of those. That first 3.5 million is tough to get.
Yeah.
But after that, when you become a member and you get some of those more profitable skills ranked up really high, it's pretty easy to gain that money. And so, yeah, I mean, it can technically be completely free if
Okay.
you're willing to be patient and work at it.
Yeah, I like games like that. I think that's why, personally, for me right now, I think Fortnite's one of my favorite games to play. It's
Yeah.
something that's new to me. It's something that's familiar at the same time. Like it's a shooter. I know how to shoot a
Right.
weapon. I've done it before. I've played
Hmm.
battle royale games in the past, from Minecraft servers to H1Z1 to
Right.
PUBG. I have the understanding, and I feel like it also caters to a big majority of newer audiences, which is people who are just getting a PS4, the younger audience who love seeing games that are almost cartoony.
Hmm.
It's free as well, so anyone can kind of download it. Gives you the option to grind the game, and you can get like skins and stuff that don't help you at all, but just makes the viewing like experience a little better. And then on top of all
Right.
that, you got the option to, if you want to, put money into the game. Now, I like that concept a lot. I like the idea of having something that's completely free, because I feel like when something's free, you don't have any sort of standards you have to live up to. People aren't really investing much in it besides their time. You see something with Call of Duty, uh, you
Right.
see some people say all the time, "Oh, I don't know if I'm buying this year's Call of Duty. I might wait till Christmas to kind of see what it's like and ask for it then. I don't want to waste $60 on a game plus the season pass, so it can be
Right.
$100 or more." And for me, I think when I start going to play World War II more, which I'm going to start playing a lot more, I think soon. It's just I've been on the Fortnite grind and really want to max out my level for the season. I think once I
Hmm.
get that completed, I'm going to start playing more World War II. I think I'm going to start getting into sniping because I really do enjoy watching your live streams. I haven't been able
Oh,
to catch as many as I want to because just normally it seems like you're live during times where I'm either live or it's the middle of the day and I'm busy doing other stuff. But
right.
whenever I am able to
I
watch
I,
you,
I completely understand.
it looks so much more refreshing than what I normally do, which is grab a PPSH, run around the map, try to get streaks, and hold like a
Yeah.
1.5 KD. It's just,
Right.
I feel like sniping, and I did this in Black Ops 3 too, because when I played Black Ops 3 the first year it came out,
Uh.
it's not that I got bored, it's just I used so many weapons.
Right.
It was like if I used
And
one
I
weapon for too
think
long,
I
it,
think for me, sniping, I think I'm at the point with Call of Duty that like with a regular gun, I'm not a professional, but am good enough with a regular gun that it's like, okay, I can go in and do some pub stomp stuff if I have a squad and we're
yeah.
sitting there with the right score streaks and we're sitting there communicating, we could pub stomp. But I think there's this level of skill that is required to use a sniper, and it
Hmm.
forces you to attack certain situations differently,
Yep.
use angles better, and then on top of that, you really have to take the time to learn how to scope in. And the difference with this game and other games is that the scoping speed for each sniper is different. The way that the sniper zooms in is different, and then certain guns have aim assist and others don't. And so I think with this game specifically, it's just really, really difficult. As far as like Fortnite and H1Z1 and those battle royale games, I would love to play those. I have Fortnite on my PlayStation 4, but I think that it caters more to PC players.
Yeah.
And like when I watch Ninja play, the way that he builds and things like
Oh
that,
my gosh,
that's
he's
what makes it
amazing.
fun for me. He's
Yeah.
incredible. And that's what I want to be able to do with it. And so I try and play it on my PC, and my PC can't handle it.
Hmm.
And because I think like Ninja sort of ruined the way that I would normally play, or the PC. He ruined the PlayStation experience for me because I watch him play on PC. And I'm like, dude, that looks way more fun than on PlayStation. And so I don't ever play Fortnite. And since I have the goal of just being a part of Optic, being recognized, and eventually being a part of their sniping team, if they bring that back,
Yeah.
um, I can't really take the time to play
Hmm.
Fortnite like a lot of other people are able to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you bring up a really good point there. You talk about time investment, and I feel like we'll cover this more later. I have some just like less serious topics we can talk about too. But just since we're on this like train of thought,
Yeah.
I just want you to explain a little bit what you mean by time investment, because for me personally, I have my own things that on a daily basis I invest time into. Couple being streaming, working
Right.
out, hanging with family. During school, it's making sure my schoolwork's completed, that I'm studying for a test, and quite quickly, like the hours that seems like you have 24 hours in a day, you can use it however you want.
Yeah.
It seems like it slowly disappears, and I have to constantly look at how am I evaluating my time? How am I using my time?
Hmm.
How can I be more efficient? And if you just want to explain kind of with your name, you have a really good background with 1440 blank that I don't think people
Right.
understand what it is, and kind of explain
Yeah.
some of the stuff in the past that you've invested time into, from like haunted and
Okay.
things like that.
Um. So I'm just gonna let people that like from just to give you a little bit about myself. I have an obsessive nature. And so if I get involved with something and I get really, really attached to it for long periods of time, one of those things being Call of Duty, one of the things being RuneScape. Like I've been playing RuneScape since I was like 8, and so I'm 24 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And one of those things is, or one of those things was basketball. Um, and so for me, like your ability to manage your time, for some people is really, really difficult. For some people, it's something that they have to learn, and for others, it's something that they don't have to learn. You know, it's something that comes to them naturally. For me, I naturally hate being late to certain things and whatnot. And so the term 1440, it just, I think everyone's used to hearing there's 24 hours in a day. And when you think about how long an hour is, it feels super, super long. And so people sort of throw that idea away. Like, okay, we got 24 hours. It's okay. I can spend 2 or 3 hours doing this and I will be fine. When you break it
Yeah.
down into minutes, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. When you break it down into minutes, at least for me, it makes it more real. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't seem like there's that small amount of time. And then you take out how many hours you spend sleeping a day. How much time you spend eating, at lunch and breakfast and dinner. How many minutes you spend in the bathroom, and then how many minutes you actually spend working outside of chasing your dream and your passion, right? And so that's one of the reasons why I try and wake up really, really early. Now, past week or so, I've had a really bad stomach like
Yeah.
virus, and so I haven't been able to get up as early because my body's just like drained. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because it's fighting off that sickness, and everyone goes through that. But I think as you mature and as you grow, you have to learn you have to learn how to manage your time in order to find success. The things just aren't going to be handed to you. You have to go work for them. But if you're not willing to go out there and work, you're not going to receive those. And I'm a prime example of that because
Hmm.
I have failed at so many things all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Like you look at me a year ago. Um, I am almost exactly in the same place I was a year ago on my YouTube channel. And I'm on a different one now, but it's simply because I didn't focus hard enough. I didn't have a goal that tied me to what it is that I want to accomplish in life, right? Like I didn't have a small enough slash large enough task that kept me entertained and forced me to look at my day, split it up into however many sections, and attack it when I had the time to do so. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think with the younger generations, and not that I'm old or anything, but the generation after myself and even after you, Mumbo, there's this idea that we're entitled to things.
Yeah.
There's this, we are raised with the internet and with technology, and that's not a problem because it can be great if used correctly. But we have this idea that because everything is so instant for us, you have instant ramen and you
Yeah.
have, I don't know, you can jump in your car and go get a full meal somewhere, or you can go onto the internet and buy something and have 1 day delivery and it's there the next day. There's this
Uh-huh.
idea that everything should be instant and given to you right then, there, and in the moment. And it's not true. And so for me, 1440 encompasses time management, um just working your tail off, I think for me it's just making sure that I keep myself humble with what it is that I've been given and the opportunities that I've been given, even if they are super itty bitty and tiny.
For sure. I think the way I look at yourself, especially since I joined Haunted. If you guys don't know, back in the day, I joined a Call of Duty gaming organization called Haunted Gaming. Now they changed their name. They're, I believe, Viral. But
Okay.
when I was in there, Oscar, aka Larky, he was in there as well. Uh, we both had different roles. I kind of joined when I was just making videos. I didn't really start streaming much yet. So I had to create, I think it was a
Hmm.
video a week. And I think I started a couple series that I tried to do on their channel, which was like top 5 plays. I tried to do just a
Yeah.
commentary over gameplay. But it was during that time when I started falling in love with streaming. Now, I think this thing of success we keep talking about and we look at, I tweeted this out the other week. It's different. It depends on the person. It depends how big you want success to be. Because
Hmm.
I can tell you straight up, sometimes in my life, when a lot of stuff's happening compared to when nothing's happening, it just seems like I'm just kind of walking through the days. When I'm walking through the days, it might seem like, all right, success is going to be if I get a really like positive stream today, compared to when like the stuff happened with my grandma. She had her stroke and it wasn't looking good for a while. Those days, success was get her eyes to blink, get her to like touch your hand, be able to
Right.
have her just here for another minute. And it's so hard to compare success to so many different things, but I feel like
Yeah.
when it's going towards something that we're trying to go towards, which is constantly changing, the internet's constantly changing, content is constantly changing. You see it all the time.
Hmm.
If you do the same thing over and over, you can grow a business if it's popular, but if people don't like what you do anymore, you're kind of done. It's especially with content creation and streaming and all that stuff. The way you stay relevant is keeping your audience and growing from it. A lot of people
Right.
look at things as a sub number. Oh, I need to get my subs up. I need to get my views up. That's great, but if you're clickbaiting to get that stuff, you're trying to get that instant success.
Hmm.
That's not success to me. I see that as people who will give you a quick boost in numbers right there, but a
Hmm.
year from now, they're not going to be here because what you're doing, if you stop clickbaiting or you're doing something different, chances are they're not. That's just the way it is. And you've experienced
Right.
this a lot with switching from being a competitive Black Ops 3 player to
Yeah.
streaming to podcasts and just everything in life. And I feel like what a lot of people do wrong and what I think incoming people really need to understand is for something like this where it's a passion, it's something you do
Right.
for fun, it's entertainment, you can't expect to make money from it because think about it like this. I went from just playing with my friends to hey, if I record a video of this, other
Hmm.
people in the world might be able to see it and get a laugh out of it. That was like my first reaction to wanting to make videos. And then it was wait, there's
Right.
organizations out here with people who like to make videos too. I want to try to
Right.
join one of these. Not because I wanted to get my sub number up super crazy and do this as a job, but it was I just really enjoyed what I did and I wanted to
Right.
surround myself with other people who enjoyed it too. And that
I
instant
think.
success, you're like the number one person who can talk about this.
Yeah.
Success is not instant, and even when you
No.
work hard at something for over a year, like we were in Haunted for over, it seemed like close to a year or over a year.
Yeah.
You at least for me, it was
I.
like a couple months, but it felt so long because during that time, I think I put more energy and more time into my YouTube channel streaming than I did for like a year and a half beforehand.
Right. And I think, like for me, I think that's one of the reasons why I changed everything and I changed my channel because I think for me it was one of those moments where I had um one of the just a moment where there was exponential growth in my maturity. Um and so just to give everyone an idea of where I came from, I watched the creation of YouTube, and I've seen it grow from the very beginning to now. And when I turned 19 years old, I bought myself a computer, and I was like, you know what, I can do exactly what they're doing. I can make money. I can grow a YouTube channel because I'm entertaining. I have a personality for
Yeah,
it, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, uh, but there is a problem with being realistic with what it is that you can accomplish in a day,
yeah,
right? Um, and so for me, for a very long time, I was just following people and trying to do what everyone else was doing.
yeah,
Um, and it made it one stressful for me because I didn't see the type of success that other people were having, and number two, I hated it, right? And
yeah,
so when I created the name blank, when I created 1440, it took one with the blank part, me taking everything that I was trying to do and scratching that and just doing what I want to do and being me, and then 1440 throwing in like I still have to work, right? And so um, ever since then, I genuinely I am interested in how many subscribers I have or how many
yeah,
followers I have. Just because it's fun to watch that grow. I'm not
yep,
gonna lie to you and
mm,
say that
yeah,
you shouldn't watch that you're not supposed to watch that at all. Because if you enjoy watching that grow, great, watch it
yeah,
grow. But simply hunting out those numbers, that growth is going to it may motivate you for a week, it may
yeah,
motivate you for a month or a year even, but at some point that motivation will die. There has to be
mm-hmm,
something else that hooks you in and keeps you on solid ground. And for me, it's the drive and love for Optic Gaming and wanting to be a part of that organization. Has nothing to do with I don't care if anyone ever watches me ever.
yeah.
as long as I can get them to notice that I exist. And this was one of the things about me when I was in Haunted was I wanted to be have like an internship under Optic Hex, under Hector
Yeah.
Rodriguez. And I went like to the point where I called different radio stations, different companies that they had interviews with online. I even called. I knew their exact address. I sent a letter to them. I sent multiple letters. Um, I knew. I called the city. I called Chicago. I called the city that they lived in Illinois. Like I went above and beyond to try and get in contact with these people.
Hmm.
And when you have a passion like that and you're able to fuel that into whatever it is that you want to do, if that's YouTube, great, then go and do it. You will find success. It may not be 1 million subscribers in a year, but you'll find some type of success, whether that's reaching out and motivating someone else to do the same thing. Maybe that's getting 100 subscribers in a week or a month or that year, right? But there's some type of growth, and I think that there are way too many people who either think that YouTube is a joke and is not a real job,
Yeah.
and that people are wasting their time, and or they think that they can just come in here, buy the stuff that they need to buy, start recording random stuff, and voila, they'll be a success on YouTube
Yep.
or Twitch or whatever,
That,
you know?
that that's interesting to me because I have a lot of different thoughts on this, and I think it changes each person I talk to. I think
Right.
it's more one on one that I start to have these conversations about YouTube. And like what I mean by this is when someone asks me like, "Oh, what is YouTube to you?" or like, "Is YouTube your job?" It changes who I talk to. If I'm talking to my friends and they see me from high school where I was at to where I am now, they were like,
Hmm.
"Holy crap! I've never seen anyone from our school, anyone from our town, anyone not from our state. Our state, we have a couple pretty dominant YouTubers from Wisconsin, but it's like you look at that small ladder of success where you break it down to like your city, your school, and maybe you have people who do YouTube as well with you, and you're all doing it for fun. But then suddenly it seems like you're competing against each other a little bit. And don't get me wrong, it can be fun to compete if you're competing for the right reasons. Like in
Right.
Haunted, that was the case for a lot of us. Is we knew if we all pushed each other to keep grinding and keep doing what we wanted to do, we would all
Hmm.
make each other better because it became a thing where if I started giving up or if I started feeling down about some things, and that's why we would have the weekly meeting. We would get together on Fridays, and literally it was like every single Friday people would want to go out and party. People would want to go out and do this. People wouldn't feel like YouTube was promoting their videos, so they'd feel down about themselves. You'd get in a call, and it would go from like my time, it'd be like 7 o'clock at night to like sometimes 11. And the second the call ended, you like I was so motivated just to go out
Yeah.
there and keep grinding that it didn't matter if I wasn't getting the views I wanted or someone else thought I deserved or I was making money from
Right.
it. And I think the issue that people have is they want, like you said, the instant success. They keep
Hmm.
looking for it. Like, I need this equipment. I need this. I need that. You don't need anything. What
Hmm.
was fun for me was the process, and you hear it all the time in sports. Trust the process. Why can't that be true for like video games as well? If you want to do YouTube, I started knowing that hey, I love watching all these people back in the day when I watched Minecraft a lot, the older Call of Duties. I had a PS3. I didn't have a PS4. You know, I didn't have a computer, but I knew one day
Right.
I wanted to. So it became okay. I'm gonna save up my birthday and Christmas money. I'm gonna start mowing people's lawns. I'm gonna shovel snow. I'm gonna save up
Right.
money on the side, and I still use the same jar to this day. I have this little jar that I hold money in, and on the top it
Yeah.
says money for a PS4. And just knowing that it wasn't, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't think I was gonna be a streamer or anything. I just knew I loved playing video games, and if I could
Right.
record it and show it to the world, that
Yeah.
would be something cool. And going from that to okay, there's a streaming feature. I can stream to Twitch. A lot of people thought I started streaming on YouTube. I actually started streaming on Twitch before that. But it
Hmm.
wasn't to grow an audience or anything. It was literally the only reason I streamed on Twitch was my friend had a Twitch account and wanted to watch him play Black Ops 3 because he wasn't home. And that was like the only reason I did it. And from that, I was like, wait, YouTube has a streaming option? Oh, heck yeah, I can make videos and stream on the same site. And then kind
Yeah.
of slowly I was able to upgrade my gear. And I think a person who really like explains it well to me is my father. If you guys don't know, he went from like not believing in this at all because it was basically just playing video games to I'm starting to grow my own business. Sometimes it's going to be popping, sometimes it's not. Like I said,
Right.
like to put an example, the where I'm at, I have currently over 5,000 subscribers. Built that up within 2.5 years. It's not the biggest number in the world, but I've worked part-time jobs at as being a host at a restaurant. I've worked summer jobs painting. There are some weeks where I will make more off of YouTube in terms of donations, and that's another thing too I want to get into real quick. You will always make more if you want to be a streamer or you want to be someone who's making content. Most of the time, the majority of your income will come from other people, whether that's merch, whether that's through donations, whether that's people sponsoring on YouTube, subscribing to you on Twitch. People are the ones who believe in you, and they are going to
Right.
be the ones who watch your videos, watch that ad, earn you that AdSense. They're
Mm.
the whole reason you're able to do this. So many
Yeah.
people look at it as, oh, views are just a number. That's what gets you ad revenue. Those are people taking time out of their day to give you the time of the day.
Right.
You need to be able to grow that, and that's what's important. And I think what my dad has done a really good job with me is he's seen me go from nothing to where I am. And
Hmm.
there's times where I say to myself, I think I deserve more than what I have, or this is something that I can start doing as a full time job. And these like instant thoughts that come to your mind, because like I can tell
Right.
you, if you receive a $200 donation during one of your streams, that instantly gets into your head like,
Yeah.
holy crap, why would someone do this, first of all? But second of all, this is more money than I made in 2 weeks working, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like
And
that.
I think that situation in moments like that is when you need to be surrounded by uh
Good people around you. People who will.
people
Yeah.
people that will keep you grounded,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And you need to weed out those people that are negative in your life.
Yep.
And that has been a difficult thing for me. um because this isn't like YouTube and streaming is something that I do on the side. I would absolutely love
Yeah.
this to be a career thing. But I'm nowhere near that. And, so I started my own business on the side. And one of the hard things I've had to go through, I actually had a meeting last night where one of my partners was like, "Yeah, I have a guy that's being he's an investor in me, and I'm loyal to him. I can't just cut him out." I was like, "Okay, we'll bring him to the meeting. We'll sit down and we'll talk." And I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, "So, what are you going to be investing?" And he was like, he couldn't answer the question.
Yeah.
He was like, there I instead of investing money, I just wanted to be a part of it. And he was like, instead of there being three partners, I wanted there to be four. And I was like, I wait a second. I'm sorry. I thought you were an investor. I'm so
Yeah.
confused as to what's going on. I didn't realize that you were a friend who said that they would invest in my
Yeah.
partner's business at the time. And so, we ask him how old he is. He ends up being 22. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, so he's 22 or just turned 23. Where does this money come from?
Yeah.
How much are you investing? How is that going to affect myself and my partners? Because that's the thing. I'm looking at, I want to make sure that I protect us, you know what I mean? And so I think one of the difficult things that people have to learn through the process of building a business or YouTube or life in general is how to stay grounded and humble in moments of super success. In your case, having someone like Korean come into
Oh
your
yeah.
stream and host you. How do you deal with that? Because all of a sudden you have in your head, okay, if he notices me, he has X amount of subscribers or
Yeah.
whatever the case is. What's that going to do for me? You see your channel grow, right? And now you're like, okay, so if this happens, and let's say this happens once a week, that's not going to happen, but because of the high of the
Yeah.
moment, you're like, this happens once a week.
Yep.
I'm going to make this amount of money. Okay, I think I can live off of this. So you have to weed out those thoughts, and then you also have to take maybe friends or family that you've been close to literally all your life.
Yeah.
You know, your best friends, and maybe they're the people that are like looking at you and telling you, "Hey, Umbo, like you can't do this." What are you talking? What do you mean you're going to go out there and stream for 8 hours and make a living and then eventually build a business? Like, that's not possible. It's not likely. Like 0.0001% of people ever do that. You think you're going to be the one that does that? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's those moments where it's like, okay, listen, I'm just not going to like your mindset and your uh, way of life does not line up with what it is that I'm trying to accomplish with mine. And I think that's what I appreciate about you is that no matter what is happening, you've always turned the stream on, or you've always made a video, or you've always gone to the gym, or you've always um, cleaned up the what you're eating. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
no matter what has gone on, you've decided that you weren't going to let that stop you and that that wasn't going to dictate the outcome of what it is that you're trying to accomplish. That
Mhm.
you're the one that has the say other than death and or God or a higher power, depending on who you are. There's nothing else on this planet that's going to stop you. And I think it takes for anybody that wants to be successful at anything, and especially YouTube, because this is one of those fields where anyone, literally anybody, can do it. You could be an athlete and do it. You can be the most unathletic, dumbest person, not good looking person on the planet and be successful. And so this field is flooded with people. I think it takes that type of mentality of like I really just don't give a crap, and I'm having to filter my mouth here, but I just don't give a crap about what it is that you think or anybody thinks. I'm going to do what I do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
That's
And
yeah.
I will find success because of that.
Mhm.
You know?
That's a really good point you bring up, and I like how you said kind of anybody can do this, but like there's a but to it. People, I feel like the younger audience doesn't quite understand this yet. And I hope if you're not out of the house yet, you can say whatever is a young audience. People look at young different ways. I look at young as like kind of 12 to 15, kind of before you
Right.
hit high school. Because for
Hmm.
me, before I hit high school, I thought I had life figured out, thought I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a professional
Hmm.
soccer player. So everything in my head was I wanted to be a math major. So I was really good at math in school. And I
Yeah.
wanted to be a MLS soccer player. I wanted to play professionally. So a lot of my time was during middle school. I don't think many people have jobs. I don't think you can get a job till you're 14, 15. But you can get like side things. You can
Yeah.
mow lawns. You can work with your family. Like
Hmm.
there's ways to make some sort of income. But majority of my time was invested in how can I become a better soccer player. Whether that was go work out, kick a soccer ball around in my basement, juggle,
Right.
play games, travel. And the way I look at it in terms of you, like I'm a businessman. I like looking at things in terms of a business. My
Hmm.
parents treated it as an investment. As much as parents like love their children and stuff, I'm an investment. My sister's an investment in terms
Hmm.
of, you're signing up for these club teams that are the most elite in the state. You're playing against
Right.
the most elite teams in the nation. You're going to these tournaments, these showcases where college coaches are going to be there in hopes of someone can see your skill and they can maybe get you to come to your college and you can get a scholarship so you no longer have to pay for school, or you can get looked at so you could possibly make the MLS. And there's so many
Right.
ways if you look at the sports aspect of this on how you see it all the time. There's some people who get accepted to Division 1 schools who aren't the best player in the world, but they know how to market themselves. At the same
Yeah.
time, you can see so many people who are so good at the sport they play, but they don't know how to market themselves, and they're not.
Yeah.
It's not that they're not smart, it's they are not smart about the way they go about school. They treat it like it's not important at all, and they just worry about the sport. And you can see so many athletes become ineligible, and you can see kind of their career kind of fade away from that. But for me, it was kind
Yeah.
of like I wasn't the best player in the world, but I knew I loved the sport. I worked hard, and that was the thing I had on anyone else. I was always the first one out there and the last to leave, it felt like. And I
Yeah.
would be willing to put in the time. And over time, as I kept playing soccer, I sadly got more and more concussions. I would go
Yeah.
to these Division One schools across the Midwest, go to their camps, talk to the coaches, market myself, and coming from a small town where the club in my town that I didn't play for anymore because I was kind of not better than them, but I went to a team that was higher ranked. It was kind of
Yeah.
like built in different ranks, and you'd kind of just work your way up. And I was one of the best teams. And
Yeah.
it's almost shocking, and I think a lot of people on YouTube have the sense too, is if your mind is small, if you're focused on a small town thing and you move out of that,
Hmm.
it's not that you become cocky, but you kind of figure out, hey, I can push this. Let's see how far I can push this. Let's keep it going. But it takes
Right.
those schools, it takes those people to tell you you're not at the point where you want to be at to be a Division One athlete. You're not good enough, and I don't want to use concussions as an excuse because I did get enough concussions where I felt like my moods have changed. I'm not as smart as I used to be, but overall, I didn't have what it took at the time to be a Division One soccer player, and I
Right.
kind of at that point it hit me. Okay, if I really want to be a Division One soccer player, I really got to hit this hard, and it was like my sophomore to junior year when I really made that transition. I think it showed. I think
Hmm.
my sophomore to junior year were the two best years of soccer I played in my life because it
Yeah.
was playing for a purpose and I had this motivation to be the best version of myself that I could be. Because it was no
Right.
longer I wanted to go to this school, I wanted to go to that school. It was let's see where I can go. If it has to be a Division 3, it'll be a Division 3 where they will accept me, they will push me, and they
Hmm.
will show me that I have what it takes. And even if I don't believe in myself, pull it out of me. And I've had that with YouTube too, like being in Haunted, where I didn't believe I was capable of certain things. And you just have
Right.
people tell you, you are going to be able to do this. You will do this. You got to
Hmm.
believe in yourself. And you kind of think at the time, I don't think I'll ever hit 100 subs. It
Right.
happened. I don't think I'll ever hit
Hmm.
500. It happened. I don't think I'll ever hit 1,000. That would be crazy. It happened. Now we're at 5,000. And the thing for
Right.
soccer, as when that vision kind of came to an end with a mix of concussions and realizing I wanted to go more for school than a sport, anyways, because the chances of me going
Hmm.
pro, one, weren't very likely. And I didn't want to invest my time into that, knowing my health would be invested and it would constantly go down. It wasn't a thing
Right.
where it's like, it's an ankle injury and oh you can heal and it can be all brand new. It's one of those things where you're messing with your livelihood and you see it all the time in the
Right.
NFL. People who go for a year and then stop playing because they get so many head injuries. And
Yeah.
I think for me in my life, no matter how you look at it, I've been able to transition from thing to thing. I might not have the
Right.
same amount of numbers, but I went from, being one of the best people in my school at math to hating math in high school, realizing, hey, I like computers more. I'm going to do computers. To I
Right.
don't think I'm going to be able to do soccer. Let me start making YouTube videos and see what this is like. So many
Right.
times in my life, I've failed, and you hear this all the time. Successful people say this. So many times you have to fail to be successful because I feel like so many people nowadays have this narrow mindset of this is what I want to do. And so many people come into YouTube this way. And if you're one of them, I hope if you're listening to this podcast that you just think about what it is you want to do and what it is you hope to accomplish. There's many times on YouTube where I got this narrow mindset. I need to play Call of Duty. I need to do this. I need to
Right.
stream this many days a week, this long. I need to do this. I need to do it. You need to do what you're motivated on doing because that's what's going to push you to get farther. And I watched an interesting video. I'm sorry that I keep kind of like talking. I'll give you a second to
No,
talk
go
a
ahead.
little bit, but I watched a video where it opened my eyes up a little bit more, and it was a
Hmm.
controversial video. It was talking about how you shouldn't follow your passion, and it was almost one of those clickbait things where it's like, wait, you shouldn't follow your passion? Everyone tells you to follow your passion. Why shouldn't you? And it was a video kind of a bunch of people who've made it in different industries. They kind of
Right.
talked about, listen, your side hustle is following your passion. If you love doing something, it is never going to really look like a paycheck to you. It might become a paycheck, it might become a source of income, but you're
Right.
always going to enjoy doing it. So in your head, it's never going to be a job. For me, my
Right.
dad kind of says the same thing. Have YouTube be the side hustle thing. If you can get a certain amount of income on the side when you're going to school and classes, that's just a bonus. If it ever gets to
Right.
a point where I can take a year off and do this as a full time job, that's awesome. But if I'm so desperate on chasing that and having my passion be that main thing right now, what's going to happen is I'll get so narrow focus, and so many people get narrow focus on this, and when it doesn't work out, you see that they're just crushed. But what
Right.
people tell you is like I've done in my life, I've tried different things. I've gone from different places of work, different majors. I've kind of had to try other things out, see what it is, and off of that, you can find passion. And a lot of
Right.
times I didn't know it. Like something is painting. Like I was a host at a restaurant. I didn't think I would like it. I absolutely loved it because I got to interact with people. And you might think to
Hmm.
yourself that has nothing to do with anything in life if you're not going to go into the restaurant industry. Really? I talk to people on a daily basis,
Right.
greeted them to the restaurant. How do you think I greet people in my streams all the time? How do you think I'm able to interact with people and uh, grow as a commentator? That doesn't happen overnight. I remember when I first started, I couldn't commentate. It was so weird when no one's there and you're just talking, but you get used to it. It's just one of those
Yeah.
things you get used to it. The more you do it, the more you will get
Right.
better at it. And it's one of those things with painting too. I didn't know if I would like painting, but at the end of the day, the way I viewed painting, which I think was the best job I could have done that summer, was
Uh-huh.
long hard days. 10 plus hours every single day on that grind. You're going hard during the
Yeah.
week, and then it was, oh gosh, I just worked a 10 to 11 hour day. When I get home, I really love YouTube. I'm going to do this. I'm going to play zombies. I'm going to talk to these people. And on the weekend, I'm going to grind it even harder. It almost
Right.
made me love it more because it was a
Hmm.
side passion.
Right. I think what's interesting is like you talked about the younger generations being 12 to 15. Like there's not they don't have for most, not all,
Yeah.
but for most kids that age and younger just don't have the understanding of like what it means to work and earn something,
Yep.
right? They don't value a dollar or they don't value some of the things that they have because it was given to them. There's nothing wrong with that. There were things that were given to me when I was younger.
Yeah.
Um, things that were provided by my parents, right? And so I think that's where we see this lack of respect for what it actually takes in order to do something in life for a living,
Yep.
right? Most kids understand that you have to go to school to become a doctor or to become a teacher. Like they know that if I want to do that, I have to go to school for X amount of hours, I have to take X amount of classes, and I have to get X amount of degrees in order to be certified and be able to teach and or work on someone surgically,
Yep.
right? You look at YouTube and it's like, oh, I can just go buy a a computer and a microphone and voila, there we go. You don't even need a
Yep.
microphone. You can just
Yeah.
be really good at the game all of a sudden. Like you can, and it's that's not the case. And I think that's one of the reasons why for my thumbnail it says 10,000 hour challenge on there, right? Because it takes 10,000 hours in order to, or they say anyways, it takes about 10,000 hours to master anything. And I think it's, and this is one of the things where I believe it's our responsibility as people of this earth, and especially to my country, it is my responsibility to be as truthful and as honest
Yep.
with as many people as I possibly can, right? um and so for me, I think it's great that you talked about the the passion and chasing your passion. I think one of my favorite quotes is from Eric Thomas. He said, if you're chasing your passion, you're not running fast enough, right?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be chasing your passion.
It should be
You
with
shouldn't
you.
be running after your passion or your dream. It should be, all in going for it, but it shouldn't be, it's not in a way that it takes away from your standard of living,
Yeah.
right? Like there are things that you have to do each and every day. If you're in school, you have to go to school. You need to finish school. If you work a full-time job, you have to show up to work. You have to go to work, and then on the side, you can have your side hustle, or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? But I hate the idea of, and it's one thing that I'm having to work on myself is just telling myself that you're chasing your dreams. It's okay when it's not okay to just chase your dreams. Like I could be going above and beyond. I need to, if that means managing my time more, then manage my time more. If that means bringing more value to whatever it is in my life, then bring more value to it. If that means understanding how much longer it's going to take, or having an idea of how much longer it's going to take for me to be able to do this full time, then doing my research and learning that. And I think I'm not a huge fan of Keemstar. I like some of the stuff that he
Yeah.
puts out. I think he's funny. But one of the things that I appreciate about the man is, if you follow him on Twitter,
Yep.
you will have seen that he just put out a video that said basically like he's like, what. People keep asking me for small YouTubers, what can you do to make it? And he's like, there's nothing you can do, just quit. And I appreciate that
Mm-hmm.
because it gives me a fire under my butt.
Yep.
Because he's one of those people that I just want to look straight in the eye
Yep.
and just like flat out tell that man that like you had nothing to do with my success.
Yep.
But at the same time, he had everything to do with my
Yep.
success. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that like, and it's just one of those things where like my competitive nature comes out. It's like I just want to prove him wrong. And I think a lot of people see that because he has a 3 million plus following,
Yep.
and because he's very active on Twitter and on social media and on his YouTube channel, people are going to see that, and kids are going to see that, and they're going to be like, you know what, he's right. The market's too flooded, and I call BS to that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Here's my take on that. I'm glad you brought it up because I was gonna actually bring this up pretty soon on the Keemstar thing. You know, I think it's hard to judge people off what you just see in videos and what you see of them on the internet because there's so much more to me, at least, that people don't see in a live stream. Live stream, it's probably a lot easier because it's more just split second. I can't edit myself a certain way. But like PewDiePie had a video too where he talked about, it was like a year ago, where he wasn't happy at all, but every video he was smiling in, you couldn't tell like he was going through some hard times. He wasn't feeling good about the content he posted. The nice thing I like about Keemstar though is he's in a position where a lot of people love him and a lot of people hate him. You see that with the, like Paul brothers and all these different people, but what people like, which you saw, which I feel like Keemstar's point was right there was, and I saw a lot of people comment, getting super mad about it. If you're wanting to do YouTube as your possible job in the future, and something like that gets you to quit, someone saying something you should quit, you're not going to be doing it for long. That's something that's not for you. If it gets you mad, if it gets you a little more motivated, that's exactly what he wanted to get you out of it, because what that's going to do is it's going to take everyone who watches that video, who's a content creator, and we saw people who weren't content creators give their opinion, but people who are content creators, if you're passionate about what you do, you're sitting here and you're watching this, I even watch it too. I'm just thinking to myself, I think that's true for a lot of small content creators, but it still hits me. It's like, hey, I'm small compared to Keemstar. Yeah. I'm gonna make, this is gonna happen. Twitch, YouTube,
and I mean, even now, he said, I gave small YouTuber advice and said, quit. You're not gonna make it. The competition is way too steep. It really upset people. Some people even said I was trying to protect my position. He said, I'm sorry, but no. Regardless, I'll make a Twitter video with better advice. Here's the thing. If you let something like that, number one, I applaud Keemstar for this because it's going to weed out those that are weak-minded and weren't going to be successful anyways, and we're looking at doing this for the wrong reasons, right? That didn't have that anchor. But at the same time, like, it should piss you off if you're a true content creator or a true streamer or whatever that is somewhat related to this field of work. It should piss you off because you're gonna like, there's not one person on this planet that can tell me that I cannot do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care how big they are or how small they are. You cannot tell me that I'm not going to get into optic. Hector's the only guy that can tell me that I'm not going to get into optic, right? You know, other than that, there's not another person on this planet that can tell me no.
It's so true though.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the only man that's like, listen, we don't have a sniping team. I can't bring you in. But the thing is, I can still be a part of the grind squad.
Yeah.
That, you know, so that I still have that affiliation with them. So to have someone tell me what I can and cannot do, and the reason I'm so passionate about this is because that's exactly what happened to me. I was a college basketball player. And at the time, I didn't have the same mentality that I have now. And a coach came up to me and told me that I would never play the position I wanted to play. And after that moment, I went back home. I went to my room. I quit the basketball team. And then I transferred to another school, got into that team, and couldn't pay for school and ended up dropping out of school. Yeah. Like, and after those key moments in life, I told myself I would never, ever let someone tell me what I can and cannot do. Because at the end of the day, I'm the one that decides that. I'm the one that dictates that. And that can be as simple as I decide that what they said is true, or I decide what they say is false, you know? And that is that's what is making the difference. But to have someone tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, don't get me wrong, there are just some people that, like, if you're 5'2", you're not going to be in the NBA. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
you know? And so let's be a little bit realistic here. But if you have a skill set and you're decently good at something and it comes to you at least a little bit naturally and you work at it and that thing applies to
Hmm.
option A, B, and C, there's no way and heck that someone can tell you that you cannot choose one of those three paths and do that very, very well. For me, I will never be a I don't know, I'll never be in the Olympics, right? I'll
Yeah.
never be a high jumper. I can't jump. You know what I mean? Or I'll never be a teacher. I've worked in a school setting. I don't like it. I hate it. I don't have the patience to work in a school system.
Yeah.
And so I think there's also this level of realism that you have to have with yourself. But generally speaking, if you have a skill set and you have something that you're passionate about and you have something that you're decently good at, and that comes to you naturally without you having to put any work in, I guarantee you, if you turn it up, you grab that low knob and you turn it all the way up
Yeah.
and you go full force into that while making sure that you take care of everything else around you that needs to be taken care of, you will I'm not going to say you're going to be successful because that's relevant to what you feel is, success,
Success.
but you will progress in that field,
Hmm.
you know,
I, th- I
110%.
Yeah, 110%. I can't remember exactly who I heard this from. I think it was LeVar Ball. You probably know the Ball brothers, right?
Oh, I know
Yeah.
the Ball brothers.
So LeVar, the Ball family, there's like most people in the spotlight. There's a lot of people who love them, a lot of people who hate them, and
Right.
the one thing he said to me really resonated. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of the younger audiences might not understand, and I feel like I can help explain some things. He said, someone he was having to talk, and they're like, "All right, how long do you think this is gonna last?" He's like, "What do you mean?" They're like, he's like, "Well, this big ball brand, you got one kid in school. What happens if the other one? You got one kid in the NBA. What happens if the others don't make it? It's just your one kid. He gets injured or something, and like, then what happens? What's your backup plan?" He's like, what do you mean a backup plan? Listen. If you have a backup plan, think about it. He's like, think about it this way. I'm so passionate about what we're doing. I'm doing this 100%, even more. He's like, if I'm doing it 80%, that means 20% is somewhere else believing. Part of me is saying I can't do this.
Right.
You need to be in it 100%, which is true. But I think a lot of people need to understand this as well. Is he had to build to a position to get where he can do big baller brand 100%. It did not
Right.
start with him investing 100% of his time. It
No.
has to be profitable to do so. So for you
Yeah.
YouTubers just starting off, or anyone, any skill you do whatsoever, invest the time on the side and have it built up to the point where it's 100%.
Yes.
For streamers, Tim
Yes.
the Tapman was this way. He went to college, he got a degree. I believe he became a social worker. He started streaming on Twitch. I believe he started with Black Ops 2, then he went to CSGO, and then he's now on Overwatch. Quite
Right.
successful. But what he did was, it was his side hustle. He did it when
Mhm.
he came home from work. And then it got
Mhm.
to a point where he started to see, hey, look, I'm getting about the same money I would as my job. I'm
Yeah.
gonna start talking to my boss about what to do, and basically, I don't know if his boss said it was okay or if he made the decision. Well, bosses, they'll tell you what they want to hear. Like, they're not gonna tell you to quit and follow
Right.
your passion. They want you working for them. But for
Right.
Tim, it was one of those things where he's like, okay, I've been grinding this forever. This has been my passion for the past couple of years. I am now at a point where this can be
Mhm.
my job. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna have this be my full-time job because I'm able to. Boom,
Yep.
and you just see the success go from that part-time 40% on the side of a time investment to now 100%. And you just see the
Yeah.
boom, 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 and that can be true if it's maybe you try to go where you got some money saved up and you can do it for a year. There's
Yeah.
smart ways to go about it, and I feel like people should follow their passion and do what they want smart. But
Yes, you absolutely
one
can.
thing that
And
doesn't make sense is if you are going to college. For me, for example, I want to be able to get my college degree. I don't want to say at any point, if I find success, I might, let's say I've got 3 years under the belt, but it might make sense to go all in with YouTube or Twitch streaming for the next year. I can go back to school the next year if I have the money there. I know it's a certainty. If I don't know, I'm going to go back and I'm just kind of, going to jump into it and it doesn't work. I am setting
right.
myself up for failure. You're not helping
Right.
yourself. You're hurting yourself. And I feel like a lot of people take that advice of, you see famous people in all their situations. Everyone who's made it has their situation and talks about how they left high school, they did this, they made it their full. Like they don't, they talk about it, but they don't really emphasize how much work beforehand it takes to make it. So many people look as, to be successful, I just need to jump in it completely and hope just it happens, because it doesn't. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of stuff, especially in the entertainment industry. You have to have a lot of people like, when I say a following, I mean people who care about you and want to support you, whether that's a little bit financially, whether it be just viewing, which even viewing is a little bit financial if they're getting you AdSense. They're helping you grow.
Right.
Just having another, like, 10 people sitting in there might not mean much, but on Twitch, you're going to be sitting in front of 100 other streamers if you have 10 people taking the time out of there sitting there. Then there
Right.
might be someone who comes to stream for the first time and sees you and decides to donate to you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, all that stuff adds together. And
Absolutely.
I just think when it comes to certain stuff, everyone wants the best for you, especially when it comes to family. They want what's financially smart, what's safe. And that's the thing too. A lot of people want to live safe lives. They don't want to take those chances. So you see a lot of these people who do take chances. You see the successful ones, but there's also a lot who fail. But I can tell you from experience and from knowing people, I know successful people where they've taken that leap. They have failed. But instead of just failing, they gone back up and they tried again. And they failed.
try again.
And then they keep going.
And
you fail
that applies
until
to,
you
like,
succeed.
but if you can take that and look at a baby. Does a baby, after it tries to walk for the first time and falls down, decide that, you know what, maybe walking isn't for me?
Mm-hmm.
No. And I think one of the guys I love watching, Gary Vaynerchuk, talks about one of the things that he's really, really big on is patience. If you're 20 years old, like, shut your mouth, keep your head down and work, and build that foundation until you're 30. When you look up at the age of 30, I'm willing to bet that you're going to be in a place that you never thought you could even imagine reaching. Because instead of sitting there and complaining about where you were, or worrying about where you were going to be, or worrying about this, that, and the other, you just sat there, you worked, you found success, you failed, and you learned from those failures, and you kept at it for 10 years. When you do things like that, the only option that there's going to be is progression and moving forward. But you've got to be patient with it, and you've got to be willing to go through the trials and tribulations. And I think one of the great things about Twitch and YouTube now is that we've grown past that, like, baby golden age.
Yep.
Right? Like, where it was so brand new that people would just follow because it was interesting to see someone with a camera videotape their life. We've gone past that. YouTube and Twitch are a norm now. And for people that want to do this, you have to understand that it's probably gonna take 2 to 4 years of working your tail off in order to get to a point where you can make a living, simply because that's how every other job, every other career is, right? Like, you can go out and get a job now and make money, but if you want a career, it takes 2 to 4 years of training or working at it. And I think that's where we are with YouTube and Twitch. And I don't think that a lot of people understand that, or even associating the two, that YouTube, Twitch are now careers. They're no longer hobbies that just happen to make people super successful and super famous. It is now a career path. Yes, you can't go to school for it because it's like really accessible. All you have to do is go buy your own computer or whatever. But you have to understand that in order to do anything in any other career, you have to put that time in. You're gonna have to do this now with Twitch and YouTube, if you want it to be an actual career. If not, then great. You want it to be a hobby, then do it as a hobby. Or if you don't want to accept what I just said as a truth, because it is, then you're going to find out here in however long you do it that it is actually hard as hell in order to build anything. It's it's the way it is.
So for the younger people watching this, like I said, I don't have a specific age, but for the people, I'm going to say for the people who have never gotten a job before, actual job where you earn a paycheck from a company, I want you, Larky, to quick explain what you think like an internship is. If you had to give like a definition of an internship, or give like examples of an internship, what would you say an internship entails, and what's it about?
in my head, an internship is an individual having an interest in a company or a number of companies, and then they're willing to work for those specific companies for minimum wage or whatever the price is, so that and put their time in order to one build a relationship slash line of trust with those people, so that in the future, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, they could possibly have a job with that company, a position where they are an employee of that company. That's what an internship is. An internship isn't, and this is something that we talked about at our meeting. An internship, be like, you don't just, as a company, they don't just go out and get random interns for no reason. Like if there's someone that is studying, I don't know, they're studying political science, and I work for Microsoft. I'm the CEO of Microsoft. I'm not going to go and hire you as an intern just because I have this internship position that I need filled,
Yeah.
right? It's that it makes no sense. And so um as an intern, you have to have a certain skill set, you have to have a certain goal slash career path in mind, and you you're probably going to have a certain interest in that specific company, so that in the future you can have a position with that company, a relationship with that company, a career with that company.
So I like the definition you gave, and the reason I wanted you to give it, I didn't give you any context to what I was thinking about, but
Right.
a couple of the things you said I think directly correlate with YouTube, which I find
Hmm.
interesting, and I feel like a lot of people should start viewing it this way. Whether your goal on YouTube is to join a competitive organization like Larky wants to join Optic as a sniper, whether you want to join just content creators like a Haunted Gaming sort of thing was, or if you want to do your own thing, something I highly suggest you start looking at when you're starting to become the age where, like I said, if you're doing YouTube, I think if you're doing YouTube and you're trying to make money from it or just do it for fun, I think you should be at a point where you at least are trying to get a minimum wage job somewhere so you understand, like you said, Larky, the value of money. But the other
Right.
thing too, I think you should join when you join YouTube, when you start grinding, you should look at it as almost an internship. The reason why I bring this up is a couple key points you said. You said it was experience. One, how can you not get more like you can't get more experience than actually doing the thing you want to do in the future. You are learning. This is a learning period. It would be crazy if someone hired an intern, let's say your company hired an intern, knows not a lot about them, and automatically makes
Hmm.
them the head of the company where they're earning all this money. That's crazy. There's steps they have to go through. They need to earn it. They need to show their worth. They need trial and error. But most importantly, they need to get from step A to whatever step it is they want to end on. I can guarantee you when
Right.
that intern first comes in, they do not have what it takes at the moment to be at a position where they are the head of the company. They can get there,
Absolutely.
but they have to work there.
Hmm.
So many people I see
Right.
coming into YouTube because YouTube, it seems like it's free flowing. You can do whatever you want. You really don't have to listen to people. I'm not telling you how to be successful on YouTube. I think if you want to find success on YouTube, like Larky talked about, you need to find mentors. You need to find these people who are going to help give you this experience. Whether it's an organization where you can kind of learn from what they did right, what they did wrong, or just
Hmm.
finding someone in your niche, which if you guys don't know what a niche is, let me kind of give an example. It's kind of a group that you want to be associated with. So for a while, when Black Ops 3 was going, I would consider myself a zombies YouTuber niche. People who played the game as zombies and wanted to progress, whether it be get more Easter eggs done, grow their audience, or get as high as a round of zombies as they could. And for me, I wanted to keep constantly getting as high as I could in zombies. I went
Hmm.
from only being able to get round 10 on a certain map to being able to get to 120 plus. And one of those things that I had to do was I had to learn. I had to learn from other people. It wasn't just I had to play the game. If it was just playing the game, I would have never learned. I had to go to someone who already knew some tips and tactics, not copy them, but go to them, seek advice,
Hmm.
trial and error, try it out, have it not work, put in more time, have it start working, and get to a point where now I can read chat comfortably and play it and not even think about what I'm doing and get super high rounds.
Yeah.
You need to be
Yeah.
able to be successful no matter what it is you do, YouTube, your job. You need to be able to do this. And Larky, you do this quite a bit, which is why I think you are successful in my eyes. Is you are always looking at other people for guidance in terms of what you can do right You know, what mistakes did they make? What can you learn from? What's the expectation like? What's the reality like? And one, it
Yeah.
keeps you grounded. It keeps you, shows you where you are in all reality, no matter who you are. Like, you might have 100 subs and think you're hot shit. Well, welcome to the world. Back in the day, 100 subs might have meant something. Nowadays, if you don't have like 1,000 subs, you might be drowned in the audiences of everyone ever on YouTube, because there's so many people now who have thousands and thousands of subs but still don't make that good of content. It's like, you look at these channels, it's like, how did this many people subscribe to them and they're still not putting out something that's like content? And it's weird. And you
Yeah.
look at it, it's like, if they look at it as a number, as success, if they look at a sub count, which most of those channels probably do sub for, I don't want to accuse people, but probably like, hey, I'll sub to you if you sub to me. Let's see your
Oh
numbers
yeah.
as high as they can. That's not growing your audience, you know? That's not
Right.
going to help you in the future. That number's just going to go up, but you're not really growing your audience, your brand, compared to
Yeah.
you right now, who you're working on your brand. You're realizing what it is you want to do, and you grow from that. Because I'm a firm believer, if you don't have a strong base, you're going to fall over. And
Right.
you have one of the strongest bases out of anything. Because I know if you grow through a certain thing, whether it's your podcast, whether it's live streaming, whether it's sniping, whatever it is, you're going to have a base and you're going to be able to move around. What I see a lot of people do is they don't have this experience. They don't go through that trial period, which I love YouTube for the reason of making people work for that, even if it's a couple cents of AdSense, making them work for that. And how Twitch does it with
Right.
affiliate. If you want it, you got to keep grinding for it. Because I've seen so
Yeah.
many channels where they finally hit it and then they put up a minute and 2 second video thinking that, oh, if I get a couple pennies from this is fine. But they don't put any time into it. They stop working. And I see that with mods too. I
Yeah.
don't want to bash any of my mods, because if you're a mod in my channel at any given point, you have earned that. But
Right.
I can progressively see whether it's they lose interest in me or they are trying to do something themselves. Once you give them that reward, once you give them that moderator, it seems like
Hmm.
less and less they start to show up, because it's like, hey, I worked for something, I got it, now I can kind of slow down.
Right.
And I think bumping that thing up that you need to get to, for the people who want to give up, great. Like you said before, they don't deserve to be here. They're not going to make it. People who want to make it, they're going to look back and laugh at it like a year from now. People who are grinding for it and are going to keep grinding for it are going to be like, oh, yeah, that was kind of funny. I was complaining at first about a couple pennies, you know? I'm way
Right.
past that now. It's more of a, I'm worried about what I'm doing rather than what I'm getting sort of thing. And I think that's really when you start to see success form in people.
Yeah.
And one last
Absolutely.
thing, and then we can
Uh,
talk about a different topic or have you go off of it. I think it's so hard on the internet to have a lot of these conversations, though, without it being this way. Like, we can talk like this and we can relate a lot, we can have differences, but we can come together and talk about it. It is so
Mhm.
hard for me to read a comment in my stream and be able to relate to someone who has a completely different thought, knowing that at one point they told me they were 12 years old. It's
Yeah.
like, I can't
And-
trust your opinion when it comes to life events or business when you have no experience.
Right. I think for those moments, and I've had it a number of times in my streams where they're like, "So, what are your thoughts on I don't know Trump?" And I'm like, "Okay, number one, how old are you?"
Yeah.
They tell me their age, 14. I'm like, "Okay, dude,
You can't vote.
come on, bro." Number one, it's just topics like that when they're that young, and even with me, like even like we don't pay attention to that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I sit here and watch CNN or whatever, Fox 3 hours a day. I don't. I don't. It's not interesting to me. Is that a terrible thing to say and admit? Yes, I should be more involved and I should be paying attention, but I don't. And so if you're 14 and younger, 15 and younger, and heck, if you're my age and younger, you're not one of those special few that actually pays attention to that stuff because you're genuinely interested in it. Like I'm not gonna sit there and have that conversation with you. I'm just not, and I'll be the first one to tell you, like, dude, we're not having this conversation. We're not gonna talk about this. One, you're gonna piss somebody else off.
Yep.
You're gonna piss me off, or you're gonna say something absolutely stupid, and I'm just not. I'm just gonna. It's gonna hurt me, And so when it comes to moments like that, in my personal opinion, I'm just not gonna. It's a no go in my stream, and I think you're for the most part pretty good at just talking, like just being like, listen, we're not gonna. It's just not even waste our time talking about it. I
Yeah.
will say though, um, when it comes to like relationship stuff, it's very when they're that young. For me, I've always, and this is my opinion. You know, if you're that young and you're in a relationship, chances are, based off statistics, it's not going to last. I'm a special case.
Amen.
I've been with
Yes.
my wife since I was 13 years old,
Jeez.
right?
Yeah.
And so we're a special case. But for the most part, statistically speaking, you're not going to make it because it's not love. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those like cultural things of I have a boyfriend, I have a girlfriend
Yep.
type of things. And so when it comes to stuff like that, the best thing for anybody that is young that is looking to have some of those deeper conversations or is trying to figure out what it is or what is going around what's going on around them and in their country or in the world, go to your parents.
Hmm.
Because they're going to be probably your number one line of information, and or go sit yourself down in front of a TV if you have one and turn it to one of those channels and watch it and
Hmm.
pay attention and develop an opinion by yourself. If you're not going to take the time to do that, don't come to my stream and ask me about it because I don't take the time to do it. I'm not paying attention to it. I don't want to talk about it. I want to play a video game. I want to talk to people that are interested in this video game. Let's do that. Let's have fun.
Yep.
This isn't I don't know, political science 101,
Yep.
right? or or how to develop a relationship 2.0. This is for me, Blanks or Larky's or Oscar's stream. For you, it's Mumbo's stream. For PewDiePie, it's his stream.
Yeah.
What game are we playing today? What are we talking about today? What does the title say? Let's do that.
Yeah.
You know,
Those are
that's
some
my, at least
great
that's my
points.
view on the whole thing.
Yeah. I like how you brought up the like young age though, because you're like you said one of those few people where it's like if you're in my chat and you're 13 with your girlfriend, I would have straight up told you like, listen, bro, it's probably not gonna last.
Yeah,
But like for you,
I, and
it lasts.
I think that's one of those things that like it sucks, but like people are so afraid to talk about that stuff when it needs to be
Yeah.
talked about. Right, like we shelter people from true like from truth, from real things, and I'm one of those. I've done that and I do that, and it's something that I'm working on continuously, but it is always better to be honest and truthful, right? And so if there's a kid that's in my stream, or it doesn't, I mean, you can be an adult, you come into my stream and you're talking about something that is either negative or you clearly just don't have more experience than I do in that subject, I'm going to let you know like what you're doing is wrong,
Yeah.
right? And
But
so
then it's
like
always you don't know my life, you don't know what I've been through. Listen, bro, if you're coming to me asking for advice, I'm going to
yeah,
give you general advice unless you give me specifics of what's going on in your life. But chances are, if you're 12 years old and you're asking me how to get over your girlfriend that broke up with you because you wanted to hold hands with someone else at the lunch table, I'm going to tell you straight up, suck it up because a couple of years from now, you're going to be laughing about this. This is not
yes,
that big of an event. At the time, I would be
hmm
upset too. But
yeah,
3 years from now, you're going to be laughing and you will be here, hopefully, and you'll be like, bro, remember when you gave me that advice? I find that
yeah,
so funny. Like
right.
we've all been
and
there
and
before.
the whole the whole like you don't know my life thing, like you are right. But if you're not going to like my advice, don't bother asking me a question. Don't ask for
Yeah.
my advice, and that will clear that whole situation
Hmm.
up. Because I'm not here. I stream for entertainment purposes only. Okay. Beyond that, I'm going to give you my personal opinion and what I feel in that moment. If it doesn't align with what it is that you're looking for, number one, I'm not sorry because you came and asked me for my opinion. Number two, you knew exactly what you're getting yourself into when you asked. You knew
Yep.
that I was going to give you my opinion. You knew that I was going to tell you something that may or may not align with what it is that you're looking for. And so if you don't want that moment of like, you don't know my life, because you're 100% right. You could be going through something absolutely
Hmm.
terrible. All right. But we all have those moments. We all have a moment of tragedy. Some people definitely more worse than others. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've had a terrible life because I haven't.
Yeah.
But getting upset because I didn't tell you to just dislike someone and just hold a grudge for the next, I don't know, year or two because I didn't give you that answer doesn't mean that you should be upset with me because number one, I didn't start the stream to be your psychiatrist,
Yeah.
right? I think that's not what happened when I don't have a doctorate in that. I didn't go to school for it. I'm not having you lay down right next to me with a video camera on me and people are watching us talk. No, that's not what's
Yeah.
going on. You're in a chat room, and for me, it says Call of Duty World War II. It says sniping. That's what we're here to watch. That's what
Yeah.
we're here to talk about. If you have questions about that, let's go.
I think that's a good point, and that's something I'm in the middle of both boats. It
Yeah.
started when I first started my channel, started streaming specifically. You
Hmm.
know, I wanted to be different than the dude next to me. I
Right.
wanted to be able to reach out and really care about what's going on in someone else's life who's on the other
Right.
side. But
Hmm.
I've quickly realized by doing so, you're not only investing your time into them, you're also investing your energy. And quickly,
Hmm.
if you have multiple people that are going through hard times
Hmm.
and you're trying to help them, it is one of the most like it's the hardest thing to explain, but it just drains you because
Right. No.
you want the best. And I feel like this is the problem with YouTube is everyone always gives the advice that will like this is gonna make you happy, this is gonna make you get through this is gonna put a smile on your face. And I try to do that. I try to put a smile on everyone's face who comes through, but the
Right.
reality is a lot of times people don't have those smiles on their faces. They're going
Right.
through hard times, they're having these horrible thoughts, and the reality is I want to be able to say everything's going to be all right, but sometimes it's
Right.
not. When you're down, this is the problem with the world right now. I feel like with school systems and everything, they
Yeah.
try to shelter you, they try to PG everything when the
Yeah.
world is R. The world is R. The world doesn't care what school you went to, what color you are, what age you are, who you grew up, how much money you have. The world is
Right.
going to shit on every single person who comes into it, and you're
Yeah.
either going to let it knock you down and stay there and complain about it and cry and get upset, or you're going to stand back up knowing that you're going to get hit again, but you're not going to let it beat you. And I think that's how you find success. I think that's how you get happy. And going back
Yeah.
to like the thing with helping people out, it's like I'm not a psychiatrist. You said it. We are here, we're trying to help you, but to a certain extent, my way of helping you is not being your psychiatrist. Go to your parents. If your parents are the issue, go to a psychiatrist. Go to someone in the school. They can really help you with the day-to-day life. That's really
Hmm.
going to get you your answers. I can only give you my opinion on the little information I know. I don't
Right.
want you to open up every aspect of your life because in all aspects, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm a stranger on the internet. I am not going to
Yeah.
have the advice that someone who knows you, like one of your best friends or someone in your school system who've seen you through years, they'll
Yeah.
be able to give you advice. What I will do is what I tell a lot of people who come in and they have a death in the family just happen or they find out someone had cancer or all this horrible stuff. I say, I'm completely sorry for what happened. I'll be praying over you, but listen, my job is to try to make you smile this stream. I want to put a smile on everyone's face. You can talk about it and chat a little bit if you want. Everyone can pray for you and stuff like that, but I want to keep the focus on this because this is what's going to make you happy. This is what's going to take your mind off of it. Us constantly
Right.
talking about this stuff, and that's another thing too. For people who want to come in and see you snipe, Larky, sometimes they're having the greatest day of the world. They're like, yo, I get to go watch Larky. They come in there, and you're roasting a kid for trying to talk about politics, and you say, fuck off, man, stuff like that.
Right.
They're gonna quickly be like, oh dang, I don't want to be here today. My mood's already wrecked. Jeez.
Right.
Or you say something that they say something that rubs you the wrong way when they just get there, and you take it out on them, and now they think you're mad at them. It's
Right.
like it can quickly get bad, and there's a reason why things are set up a certain way. There's a reason why, as much as people try to help, there's limits. Because for me personally, it sucks. I've had kids, and I never in the history of doing YouTube would have thought I would have to say this. I've had kids, people, adults, fake being people with cancer, fake being people dying, and use it against me, use it as something, trying to manipulate me. And it was one of the most disturbing calls I've ever been on in my life. I literally sat down with a dude who was in my stream with 5 different accounts. He had 5 different like personalities, 5 different people.
Yeah.
One of them was a 12-year-old kid with terminal cancer. He was going to die. And this was right around the time when we were going to do a 24-hour charity stream for the American Cancer Society. And What really sucked was the way we found out about it was one of the other accounts he was on quite frequently. He had something typed out for his cancer account, but he accidentally typed it in his other one. And the mod saw I saw it, the
Oh my
message sent
god.
through, he quickly deleted it, and no one said anything the second it happened because I was in the middle of a game. I was like, that was weird, but I didn't like say anything. But then with the emojis, the exclamation marks, every single letter and everything was then put on the cancer account a couple seconds later. And then I just like
He
look at
got
chat. I'm like,
copied and
yeah,
pasted.
mods, we got to talk real quick. And just one of the most disgusting things I've ever done on YouTube was I got in a call with this guy, and I had him try to explain to me his reasons for doing this, and I wanted to kind of quit YouTube at that moment. Like, I I I couldn't, trying to hear someone explain why they thought it was a good idea to fake being a kid with cancer, that I'm emotionally investing myself into this kid, and I think that this person is actually dying, that I'm their last person and only person that really cares about them, and I'm investing my time in trying to make their life a little easier as they're going out. It is one
Yeah.
of the worst feelings in the world, and at that moment kind of hit the line for me, like, I gotta protect myself. I can't be doing this.
Yeah.
I
Now I
can't.
think I've seen enough. I've watched enough streams and enough YouTubers to know that if I tried to do something like that, that there would be moments like that, and I don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, and I don't want to have to fall because of someone who is either actually sick and needs help, or someone is just trying to play a joke, which is in itself sick,
Yeah.
right? Um, and the fact that you've gone through that is saddening. Um, but the fact that you've learned from that means that there's hope. You know what I mean? And it brings a smile to my face because it means that you have grown and that you're setting setting up your guard in a way that you can still go out there and help people,
Yeah.
but you're also going to be protecting yourself.
Hmm.
Which at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to help anybody if you yourself are not capable of
Exactly.
going out and doing what it
Exactly.
is that you do each and every day. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that's it's so sad to hear something like that because when you do experience something like that, like my cousin had cancer, he survived, but it's one of those things that is terrifying because it's someone that you see, and if it's someone that's closer than a cousin or a friend, it's scary to watch how fast things can decline. It
Yeah.
is scary when you have those moments where like there's nothing else that you can do, and then it's absolutely gut wrenching when something disastrous does happen. And so I don't know. I just don't agree with. They're just things that you don't mess around with and don't play with, and whether you're old enough to understand that or not, um, I know that there are kids out there that are super young and they just may not understand, and that's fine. Um, but there are just certain things that you don't joke around with, you don't play around with, um, because when those things happen to you or to your family, um, it just shows you how real things can be. You know.
But Larky, the internet doesn't count. I can get on a random account and I can say whatever I want, and there's no consequences, right?
Yeah, tell that man in Kansas who got shot for no reason.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Tell that family
Yeah.
who lost a family member over someone getting upset that they lost a GB match, and so they swatted a random person, and it ended up with a death.
Hmm.
Go and tell them that,
Exactly.
and see that, and find out what it is that they feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like it may not be real to you. It may be a joke to you in that moment, but it can become very, very real. And
Exactly.
so I people don't understand how powerful the internet is and can be. And so,
We're kind
you
of
know,
getting on a point where it's not getting sad, it's getting real, and a lot of that is you have to take it with a
yeah,
grain of salt. A lot of people don't say this stuff. A lot of podcasts you listen to, they try to be bright. A lot of commentators you listen to, they try to be bright, be all happy, but it's not all. I don't know what the saying is people say, so I'm not going to try to remember what it is. But if you're trying to do YouTube and have this be your career, let me just tell you right now, we both of us in here are very experienced at YouTube. We've been around for years. We are nowhere near where it has to be for a job, a full-time job, let alone a career path. So for those of you hopping in it now, just know that there's so many ups and downs. Just because you get more subs or a couple more dollars donated doesn't mean life gets all happy. There's stuff that happens. Yep. Everyone still goes through shit. And if you have problems that are going on in your life and you think making this your job or putting all your focus into this is going to fix those problems, you're wrong. What it'll do is it'll distract you. And what will end up happening is, it's at least this way in my life, is the more time I invest into this, I think to myself, oh, if I just do this, nothing can go wrong. This is my safe goat. But then stuff starts happening on here. You get people who cross the boundaries. You get streams that don't do as well as you want. You know, you get copyright strikes. You get claims. All the drama then happens on what you're on. Like, problems will never escape you when you're in this world. It's just a reality. And if you have anything to say off of that, that's great. But I got some lighter subjects we can talk about too.
100.
All right. We'll do a complete 180. We'll turn this bad boy around. What are some of the best memories you had growing up? It can be when you're like 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Just some of the best. It could be even last year. I count it as anything. What are some of the best moments?
Right.
If you need a little bit to think about, that's fine.
On. Oh man, let me think back. I think at the top would be like marrying my wife.
Yeah.
By far. Nothing compares to that. And for anybody that doesn't know what that's like, or is going through this, dude, there's nothing like marrying your best friend.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. And getting to know them on a level beyond just friend, you know what I mean? And so I don't know, but that whole day, even though it was super stressful, is like number one.
Yeah.
Right now, you know. Crazy experience, a lot of fun, beautiful scenery, beautiful wife. Not that she's not beautiful now. All right, let's just get that clear. All right.
She's watching this.
Yeah.
You're always beautiful.
Right. And so, but that would be in the past, probably, for my life, the highlight. So I think next would be like having a kid, like if I have one.
Yeah.
But that's like years from now. But my wife. As a young boy, there was one time where I took a dare and I peed in a bag of chips, brand new bag of chips. My mom was so pissed. But like I felt cool for about a solid 5 minutes before my mom came out there and screaming her head off. But yeah, my wife.
Those are some good answers. I like how you did though, like recently and then as a kid. I'm gonna try to follow that same format. So
yeah.
As a kid, I'm going to start with as a kid. I think as a kid, just like probably in a relationship, you just have so many firsts, so many things you experience for the first time you never thought you would, or it's just new to you and you never thought you enjoy, and it happens. For me, that was just life in general. Going from when I was in kindergarten, I was a very shy kid. My mom was, and still is, a kindergarten teacher at the school I went to. You can't have your parent be your teacher, so I was like across the hall. But like, if there was ever an issue, I would like run to my mom's room and hide under the desk, because that was kind of like my scapegoat. Like, if something went wrong, my mom was always right there, which I feel like hurt me at first because it kind of slowed down, you know, getting hurt by the world and just knowing that not everything's gonna be perfect. But another thing too was I got screwed over, man. Kindergarten, they didn't know that I was colorblind. I didn't know I was colorblind. They thought I was stupid that I didn't know colors. Math, everything you do, reading, perfectly fine. When it came to what color is this, you know, it could have been like trying to tell a kindergartner how to run the United States. Like I would have had no idea.
So does red and green like look like blue to you, or?
I'm red-green colorblind. It's so hard to explain this to people because the way I explain it to people, they can't comprehend it, and it pisses half of them off. So you might get pissed from hearing this. You might not. You might be in the other half. But basically, the way I say it and what the eye doctors say to me is, I see exactly what you see. Like, we see the same things, but
Uh-huh.
I just can't comprehend the colors and be able to show you which one is which easily. If we're looking at the sky, I'm able to associate. Okay, I know the sky is blue. Clouds are normally white. The
Right.
grass is green. But if you put colors like red and green next to each other in something where it's a T-shirt or I don't know the design or team, uh, I might not have any idea. I might think it's one color, or brown is the same way. Colors close on the color spectrum of their color wheel, I struggle with. Something that might look like 10 different colors to you on a color wheel might look like
Uh-huh.
three or four to me.
Oh,
And
okay. So
yeah,
so instead of seeing like definitively like I see green here and red here, it meshes it together, and so you
meshes.
can't tell
Yeah.
which one's which.
And
Oh,
I
okay.
feel
That
like,
makes
yeah,
sense.
what messes a lot of people up trying to have me explain it to them is they think it's just like one extreme. Well, I think to me this is extreme. People are like, oh, you're not actually colorblind. You can still see color. It's like, I see a limited amount. To me, this is a problem. Like, to you, you don't have this problem. Some people, their
Right.
color blindness is full out where they can't see color at all. It might be just black and
Right.
white, and still that's technically color. But
Well,
uh,
my mom has this problem, like, and I don't know if it works now because 3D has come such a long way, but originally when 3D movies came out, you had glasses and it was blue on one side
yeah,
and red on the other, and it would mesh the two together because in the screen it would have the original film, and then it would have like this blue and this red sort of like highlight of it,
mm-hmm,
and it would that's what created that 3D effect somehow. Okay, and that's I just and so, but my mom, her eyes cannot put that together,
yeah,
and so like she couldn't watch those 3D movies because it wouldn't put those together, those the blue and red together to make the so-called purple
yeah,
in order to be able to see the 3D figures. And so I guess in my head,
yeah,
my understanding is that it's not that you're sort of like you it's like you have 3D glasses on, but instead of separating it into red and blue, it's continuously purple when it's clearly red and blue, if that makes sense.
yeah. So the
That
two
make
biggest things for me that I struggled with trying to go back to
uh-huh.
uh, my kindergarten experience was one, just growing up not knowing, being confident about color was a hard thing because that would affect the outfits you wore. You needed to get help because you didn't know what colors were what.
Right.
Something that was so easy to some people, I wasn't confident with, and I couldn't connect on that level. Like, instantly, people might be able to do art or like work with different designs. I had to have the art teacher always with me. But the biggest struggle that affected me till my senior year was whenever I played a soccer match, if it was any jerseys that could have been remotely close to each other, I struggled greatly with knowing what team was what. But I was like, I don't want to brag, but I was like a good enough player where that really wasn't a problem. It was kind of instincts at that point. I knew my teammates, but
Yeah.
when instincts kick in, my instinct is going off of what I know. If you automatically can
Yeah.
have your eyes show you what different jerseys are and being able to separate them and make a pass, that's one thing. I might be making the best pass in the world to the other team without even knowing it. And that's the thing that was hardest. But like, going back to the positive thing, like, just I think working through challenges and knowing that you can work through them is one of the greatest things growing up. And when I'm older, like, when I was younger, I would say probably some of my best memories were like just being friends with everyone, just not
Yeah.
really being hated for anything. I never had to go through life being hated. I always had people who cared about me. But
Mhm.
especially now, I say going into the real world, meaning going off to college and not kind of always living under my parents' roof. You really just see things as they are and the problems
Mhm.
that occur, and knowing that you can work through them. And it might be scary, but you get it done in the end. And if you don't get it done, you still work at it. And I think that's the best thing that's happened to me so far, and YouTube's been one of them. Is just constantly working through that. What's your
Yeah.
favorite food?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your favorite food?
110%. And here's the thing. Like, I think with whatever you're thrown at or whatever's thrown at you, um, it's what you do with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for you, you can't see certain colors very well, or you can't differentiate them. but you make the most out of it,
Yep.
you know, and because of that, you have great memories from when you're younger, and you're continuously creating great memories, you know,
Yeah.
and so just being willing to make the most of whatever life throws at you is key.
Yeah. What is your favorite food? If you had to pick right now at the moment, what is your favorite food?
Chili dogs,
Chili dogs.
hands down.
Where are they
Chili dog,
from? What are you eating them with? Describe
homemade.
it.
It's freaking Wolf brand chili, all right, with diced up onions and some jalapenos on top,
Ooh.
with cheddar cheese, all right, and it could be name brand or it can be the cheap bun. I don't care. I want the whole plate covered in chili, all
Oh
right, and steaming a little
yeah. Ooh.
bit, all right, and then like fresh hot weenie. Oh my gosh, wieners, man, chili dogs go hard.
That's
Chili
one of the
dogs by
foods I've
far, and I don't know
never
why, but it is. I love chili dog.
I've never had a lot of access to chili dogs. I could probably have made my own from time to time, which I have. I've had in college. I put some on, some chili
Yeah.
on top of a dog. But for the most part, I always have it's always like a weekly thing. I have a favorite food. I eat it a crap ton. I get sick of it. I have a new favorite food, and I can rotate back to it. Right now, the thing I like a lot is omelets. Not just straight eggs, but making an omelet, putting some cheese on, putting whether bacon, chicken, some sort of meat in the inside. I'm perfecting it, and Chef Mumbo goes hard in the kitchen. You've probably seen some of the vlogs. I do not lose when it comes to a cook-off. I go hard, double it, and just I will eat them till we're out of eggs, and then at one point I'll be like, you know what? I'm sick of eggs. I've had a lot. A bowl of
You just
cereal
go
sounds good
hard with
right
the
now.
eggs. Yeah, like I don't I'm not even huge to omelets like that. I just don't get down with omelets like that, you know. I couldn't tell you why. I just don't.
I'm just a
Never have.
breakfast enthusiast. Every food I like is normally breakfast related, and I will eat it for multiple meals. The nice thing about dining halls is they normally have accessible stuff for that. The waffle machines, you have the bagels, you have the
Yeah.
fruit, and it's just wonderful. It's just
I mean,
wonderful.
I get down. I get down on on breakfast food, but I don't know. Omelets they seem kind of basic to me. I don't know. Maybe because I'm not an omelet
Have
enthusiast.
you
I don't
ever
get
have you
you know. I
ever
just haven't
been
taken
to
the
an
time to
omelet
really.
bar or like had want someone to
I
make it for you with like different items and you could choose?
see. Yeah, I have, but I think I'm more of like just a standard like pancake slash
Pancake?
waffle dude.
Yeah.
You can give me if you can chef up some pancakes and
Ooh.
waffles.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you have a key to my heart. You
Yeah.
know,
I feel you.
um, sausage bacon that stuff goes hard too. But I don't know. I like omelets, but it's not my thing. Chili dogs go hard though. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm a Texan and whatnot, but like chili dogs go hard.
Yeah.
All right, they go stupid hard. But I do. But like, okay. So one thing about Wisconsin is like you guys got something about cheese. There's something about cheese that you
Oh,
guys are on, and I don't know what it is,
dude. We have
but you
the
guys are
best
cheese.
cheese, the best milk, the best meat. Like we had like it's just Wisconsin gets made fun of a lot. I don't know what think of some stereotypes. You said cheese. What are some other stereotypes you have about Wisconsin?
I
Is there
don't.
any that
Other
might
than that,
or do
the
you
only
know
thing
any?
that the only thing that I remember from Wisconsin is that I visited there with my mom's like Girl Scout team thing group when I was like really young, and we went to a mustard festival,
Ooh.
and I can't remember where it was in Wisconsin, but all I remember is that I had mustard ice cream,
Ooh.
and from there, Wisconsin has been labeled the mustard terrifying place of my life. Like it scarred me for life.
That
And I
sounds
didn't eat
awful.
mustard for so long. Yeah, no, it was terrible. And I don't know what small town it was in, but they get down on mustard apparently because, which by the way, this has nothing to do with mustard, but your state is incredibly beautiful. All right. Now
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
diehard Texan. Like, don't get me wrong. I love my state. Wisconsin is beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
And I don't know like why it's so green. At least the area that I was in, it was like summertime. So
Yeah. You
and I
didn't
was
come in the
young.
winter. There's no green in the winter. I'm looking
Yeah,
at
no,
one
I
right
don't.
now. There's snow everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't play with that. See, y'all are some bears up there, because it dropped like today. It was like 30 degrees, and I have a hoodie on, and I'm like cold. The wind, but I do have to say with Texas, and I don't know how this is up north, but it says like 30 degrees outside, but we don't have anything out here to protect from the wind. And so we have a ridiculous amount of wind here in West Texas. And so we have a wind chill of like, I can remember one night in high school, it was like 5 degrees outside, but we had a wind chill of negative 12.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much that the cold that bothers us out here, it's the wind. Oh, the wind is like it like tries to kill you. It is horrendous out here. But I'm assuming like when there's snow, but I'm sure it's like a pretty white snow though, right?
In
Am I? I don't
Wisconsin,
know.
it
I'm
all depends.
yeah.
Like weather is weather, you know. Sometimes
Okay.
you'll get feet of snow. Sometimes you'll get just a dusting. Sometimes you'll have tornadoes. Can't really have a hurricane in Wisconsin, luckily, or a lot of other disasters that seems to happen on the coast. But
Yeah.
what I can tell you about Wisconsin or anywhere you grow up, I have a sense of like I'm from a smaller town. I'm starting to see it get bigger now, but like growing up, especially in high school, I had such a pride for my town. As much as like all the little things about it, like problems with the school,
Right.
problems with sports team, like there's a lot of stuff that'll make you hate high school and not want to come back. But there's something about the town just growing up and being with the people from a young age to when they you leave and they believe in your dreams that it
Yeah.
always just like holds true to you. And no matter what I do in my life, I'm gonna live in Wisconsin whether I go to a different state for a bit of time or travel.
Yeah.
I kind of want to either retire in Wisconsin or just kind of just live here because there's so much to offer, like you said, and just stuff that you might have never experienced is just like my hallmarks of the state. Like when I think of September, October, you might think of it as one thing. For me, I am at a corn maze somewhere. I'm getting a pumpkin. I'm having the
Yeah.
time of my life watching these Halloween movies. But the second November hits, that's my sheltered month. People would think, oh, December and January, you'd be locked up, not doing anything. No, the second COD comes out, I am sheltered for a month, and then after that, I am celebrating Christmas and having fun in the snow. That's one thing I wish I did more. I remember being a kid, and you probably haven't had this problem being in Texas, but we got so much snow when I was a kid, like feet of snow, and you can
Yeah.
build so much in that. You can do whatever you want in that snow. Nowadays, it's like I can go outside. It's cold. I can handle it, but I really don't just want to play in the
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah. No, I mean we have snow,
Yeah,
but yeah, no feet of snow. I think I can count on like maybe like 3 times where there was enough snow to build anything. Um, and one of those moments happened like 3 years ago. Um, maybe even less than that, where I can actually think that we there have been moments where we've had enough to build like a small snowman, but anything beyond that, not really.
yeah,
We just don't have that. And the reason is it's not because it doesn't get cold enough out here. It's just dry out here, and so there's no moisture in the air, and so yeah, there's never any snow to be created. It just gets freaking cold. Like I kid you not, yesterday, if you were inside and you're looking outside, it looked like it was probably a perfect 70 degrees outside.
yeah.
There's like one or two clouds in the sky, and that was that. And it was like bright blue. The sun was out, perfect white clouds. You step outside and it was like 15 degrees, and you're like, what the heck? And so there's just no moisture here, and yeah, I've never had that moment of like, and that was one of the things is like when I think of up north like that, I think of movies that I've watched, and I'm like, dude, I would absolutely love to go out there and build an igloo. I would,
Yeah.
and then I think about it and I'm like, okay, let's be realistic here. Is that something that's actually possible? Yes, it's possible. Okay, so how would I do it? And how long does it take? You're talking about like hours and hours. And so I don't know, whenever I think of the North and how much snow they get, like I have this idea of what movies, have shown
Yeah.
me. And I just know that's unfortunate, but it's not realistic. I guess every now and then you have that like perfect snow and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. Like the movies. But for the most part, it's not realistic.
All right. It feels like we're kind of wrapping up here soon. I'm gonna kind of ask you a couple closing questions, and then if you have anything
Yeah.
else you want to say, we can definitely wrap it up then. But we're getting close to the 2 hour mark, which is crazy because
Holy crap.
uh, Drew and I don't know if you listened to the last podcast, but Drew and I did one. I think it was about an hour, and the way it ended was it was a super late night, kind of just chill the moment. All right, we're talking, we're chilling. Let's just
Yeah.
record this, and we ended up recording it, and it ended with my dad waking up upstairs, and I can talk if they're sleeping. That's no problem. They normally can't hear it, but when they go wake up and go to the bathroom, my dad can
Yeah.
just hear just a little bit of me talking, and it's just like, mm-hmm. He just hears a mumble, and then my mom is just snoring, and he can't get back to bed, and he just came down. He's like, "You need to go to bed." I'm like, "Oh crap, we gotta wrap up." So if you go to like the end of the podcast, you just hear me talk. Like I'm literally wrapping up the podcast here. I'm like, "All right, guys, we're gonna call it an end." It was a what? Oh, okay, I'll go right now.
Oh, you cut out.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's bait. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now, but it cut out for like 5 seconds.
Okay. No, but basically, I was just like, I was wrapping up. I was like, "All right, guys, great podcast. Hopefully, we can." Hello. Yeah, I'll go to bed right now. Yeah, I'm wrapping up. Sorry. Sort of thing. Late night is like, oh wait, oh crap. Sort of thing. But yeah, for you, where did Optic move? They moved to Dallas, right?
Yeah.
How far away is
So
Dallas
relative
from
to
you?
where I am, it's about 5 hours away.
Okay.
So okay, which is another thing. So that it's weird. Like I say that, and like a lot of people are like, "Holy crap, that's far."
Yeah.
And I don't know the size of Wisconsin. I don't. But it's funny to me because I'm like, that's not that far. When like I drive to Houston, it takes 9 hours. If I drive to El Paso, it's like 8.5.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, they moved to Dallas, which is about 5 hours away from where I live, and if the one thing that I'm really interested in is, are they going to be opening up their offices? Because if so,
Yes. That's what
what
I
do
was
we
gonna
have
ask
to
you.
do? Yeah, what do we have to do in order to be able to visit? You know?
Yeah. Because I don't know how they had their like Chicago location, but I've seen like with the Face House especially, people kind of know where it is, and you have those kids who aren't trying to be rude, but they're just trying to see their idols. But
Mhm.
like for a business sense, if they have a place where you can literally go and talk to them or talk
Yeah,
to uh, Hex, I think that would be such a great thing for you. For one, uh, picking his brain on any topic you want to talk to him about, but two, just kind of I knowing you from back in the day in Haunted, getting that sense of what does it take to run an org. Obviously, he's not
right.
going to spill his beans on how to be successful and how to do all this and stuff, but just having a conversation with someone who's found success in the field you want to enter.
Right. And
It's
I
great.
and I that so like I said earlier, I knew exactly where the Scuffle House was. Like I had the address. I went onto Google Maps and I took about four. It took me about 45 minutes, but there's the lake that's right next to their house. I went and watched one of the vlogs, saw the shape of the lake, and I scanned Google Maps until I found that lake, and then I found the house. Took me like I said about 45 minutes to do that. But I understood that it was stupid and unrealistic for me to drive all the way up to Chicago and park, even if they were down the street from me. Let's say I
Yeah.
lived literally a block away. It is still stupid from a business standpoint and from what it is that I was trying to accomplish at that time, what I'm still trying to accomplish with Optic Gaming. It's ridiculous for me to try and walk up to their front door where they're living and
Yeah.
working out of, and expect them to like just pull me in with open arms and answer my questions. It's not going to happen because I'm invading their
Yep.
privacy, their home. With a business, it's a little bit more acceptable simply because they're not at a play. They're not at home. They don't
Yep.
live there. They don't feel as vulnerable. It's a workplace, and businesses have their doors open for certain reasons. To sell things or whatever the case is. And so, and I'm not going to go to Dallas and just walk up to their offices until they put out a video that says, our doors open now. If you're in the area, come visit. We'd love to autograph, whatever the case is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when that happens, yes, I will be taking a trip to Dallas. Hopefully, if my wife lets me, when it's something we're going to have to talk about, of course. But I would love the opportunity to go up there and sort of get my foot in the door, so to speak, if I can, by visiting their offices in Dallas, so,
Sweet.
or Frisco technically, but all the same, one massive metroplex, to be honest.
It's awesome. So now in businesses, they always kind of talk about, when you go to a job interview or when you're talking to different people, kind of
Hmm.
what's your future plan? What are you hoping to get out of your current situation, whatever it is you're working towards, and like 10 years from now, where do you see yourself? Now for you, that can change a lot. You
Right.
have a lot of passions that can take you anywhere, but
Right.
at this moment, if you keep working hard, keep doing what you've been doing, where do you see yourself 10 years from now, from a family standpoint, from a work standpoint, like everything, I guess?
Right. Um. Hmm. Think here. Okay, so 10 years from now, I plan. So I don't plan on starting my own organization, like as far as the gaming side is concerned,
Yeah.
until I'm probably 30, 35, another 10 or 11 years. So that's where I plan to be, and that's one of the reasons why I want to get into optic, because it will teach me what it takes to be a owner slash CEO slash facilitator of professional gaming teams and other content creators, if that's one of the moves that we make.
Yeah.
Um, and between now and then, my only goal as far as streaming and gaming and YouTube is getting an optic so that I can learn from them. The only reason that I continue to do YouTube is so that I can learn from Hector,
Yeah.
Optic Hex, because I personally believe that he is the best CEO in esports
Yeah.
by far. No questions asked. And if you're a phase member and you want to disagree, by all means, or a phase fan, you want to disagree, by all means, we can sit down and talk. Um, but without a doubt, I personally believe that Optic Hex is the greatest, and I want to learn from him. And so that's what my goal is. I love playing Call of Duty. I love playing video games, and so there's also that benefit. But my sole purpose for streaming and YouTube is not to gain some type of presence, not to gain a following, but simply to get my foot in the door with Optic. And so in 10 years, I will either be studying under Hector Rodriguez, or I will have studied under him, and or I will have already studied under him. I will be running my own organization on top of whatever other business, ventures I take on, and yeah, anything else besides that deals with YouTube and streaming and Twitch. If if it is just a positive, if
Yeah.
we grow and this is something that I actually make money from, then great. But if I don't, the only goal, the sole goal
Yeah.
is learning from Hector Rodriguez. So that's what I see in 10 years. And as far as kids, I will probably have. I would say I'd have at least one.
Yeah.
We'll probably have one. Uh, if we have any beyond that, it's totally going to be my wife. It's there is my end of it, but mainly my wife's call because she's the one that
Yeah.
has to carry the child, um, and the whole pregnancy part. But uh, I plan on having a family started at that point. I still, I don't think I'll be leaving Texas anytime soon. Don't think I will be outside of Texas at that point, simply because I have already started one of my businesses, and so I
Yeah.
kind of it's stationed out of here in Texas. And, uh, we have a lot of work to do here, and I don't think 10 years is a long enough period of time for us to grow to a point where I can just pick up and leave. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, real quick, as we're wrapping up, I'll kind of have you say any final thoughts you have. But before I start kind of wrapping things up, do you have any, like, the business running? Do you want to talk about it a little bit? Do you want to plug it at all? Explain what it
Yeah, I mean,
is?
I can. There's not much to it right
Yeah.
now. So, like I said earlier, I was a college basketball player, and I'm 6'4". All right, I'm as of right now 280 pounds, so I'm really out of shape, but I'm getting back into shape. So like in my area, a lot of people or a lot of schools, just the mentality of our athletes in this area are not very good. So a lot of
Yeah.
schools sort of they look over us. I mean, we have a major university here in my city, and they don't even recruit out of this city very often. I mean, I'd say in the past 24 years, I've seen one, two, I think there have been three people that I know of that have were born and raised in this area and that were recruited out of this area from the school that
Mm-hmm.
is here, you know, and that's a problem for me. And so our goal is to step in where our coaches can. As far as basketball is concerned, I don't know any other sports. And so eventually be able to hire on other people that are more knowledgeable in other sports. But our job is to fill that void when, because coaches have their agendas. They have to put in an offense or a defense. They have to teach you certain things so that you can play at a competitive level, at least for high schools. But the problem with that is that they're not preparing you for college level
Yeah.
athletics and competition. And so they skip over these students when some of these students have the potential to play at the next level, but they're not taught or trained or groomed in a way that will give them the opportunity to get to that next level. And so
Mhm.
that's where we're going to step in. And so that's what the business is. It's a training business right now. I have way bigger plans with it, but one of my thing is I just need to be patient. I need to continue to work on it. So
Yeah.
that's where we sit right now. The business isn't even like set in stone and going. We have quite a bit of legal stuff that we have to take care of. So I'm in the talks with attorneys, and you know, startup fees and things like that. But that's the idea of it.
Sweet. That's cool because I remember, I don't know if it was in Haunted or after Haunted. I remember talking to you about this idea. I think it was in one of the Haunted meetings where you almost had the idea of this business. You and a couple other guys were talking about it, but I don't know if you were considering it being a business. You just kind of explained about what basketball was like in your area and how it could be improved. And I just
Yeah.
think that's so cool if people are looking at, you know, oh, you're still at the beginning steps of this. There are so many steps you took from
Oh,
it being a dream to it being something you talked about to should we do this to getting people on board to now actually having it in motion is freaking
yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I have a notebook here that I kid you not, I probably have put close to 24 hours of like writing into.
Yeah.
And it over the course of about a month, I sat down and I've been in talks with my partners, um, two of my partners for well over a year, probably close to 2 years of us talking about what it is that we want to accomplish and this idea of having our own training facility and our own training program and our own training business. And how would we go about making that valuable to other people? What could we do to gather clients? Is it even possible for us to do this? And so, after a year and a half, really, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to grab a notebook and we've talked enough. Let's try and make this tangible. And I started writing everything out. And I'm nowhere near like, it's not like I've thought through everything. I've thought through a lot, but I haven't thought through near everything. But I think it's this idea of like waking up each and every day and just taking action, whatever it is that you're doing. And it starts off as an idea, but I think the biggest thing is like it's great to have ideas, but ideas mean nothing if you don't take action. And for me, that was probably the hardest and most scary pill to swallow was like, I have this idea. I'm not doing anything. Let's do something. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I at least tried.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's sort of where we sit right now. We're working through all the logistics of it, but we do have our DBA, we do have our license, we technically do have a business. I am a business owner or a partial owner, and we're working on getting the LLC together. Technically, we just have the partnership right now. And so we can do sales and things like that, but we need an LLC, which is a limited liability corporation and pretty much just protects us from being sued. Like my house cannot be taken if someone sues me, but if they're looking for $100,000 and we have a $100,000 building under the business name, that building can be taken. But I'll keep my
Yeah.
car, I'll keep my house, and things like that. So there's some bigger steps that are going to take a little bit longer. Um, and I think that's one of the things that I did not realize in the beginning was like how long this would actually take. We had this goal of getting started this January. We're nowhere near being ready to start. And so we have all these clients and even some of the schools in the area that are like, hey, we would love to train, but you guys are taking forever. What's going on? And it's just having to sit down and explain to them like we're talking with attorneys, we're making sure all our legal documents with the
Yeah.
state, not the city, but with our state are clear so that we can move forward and just getting paperwork and contracts written up so that we're safe, because there is a chance that one of these kids are going to get injured. It's a sport. You can play, I don't know, swimming and you can get injured. I don't know, you flip wrong, smack your face against
Yeah.
the side of the pool, whatever the case is. And so there's just a lot to it, but it's fun. And I feel like I've grown as an individual
Yeah.
because of it, you know?
I've said it for the past year. I will keep saying it over and over and over. Guys, this is one of, I call you and you hold this title to this day. You are the most unsuccessful, successful person. I say it all the time. You have invested so much time and energy to so many things, not expecting a single lick back. Guys, I'm going to put his link down below to his YouTube channel. If you guys want to subscribe to it, absolutely do so. I'm going to put his Twitter down there too, just to show people, what success looks like. I think this is success because he might not be to where he wants to be right now, or you might not be where you want to be on whether it's social media, whether it's your business, but this man has 124 followers on Twitter and 59 subs on YouTube. If you are anywhere close to that, or even maybe past that, and you're wondering to yourself, why aren't you getting this to become a full-time job? Why aren't you getting more attention? You deserve more attention. You need to be able to put into the
Yeah.
work now, have that strong base, like I keep bringing up, and in the future, you will be successful. It is when you stop being successful. You
Mhm.
making the effort will pay off in the end. Everyone who's ever made it, like think about anyone in the NBA, NFL, you don't have an interview with them and they say to you, "Man, back in college and high school, since I made it now, there's probably no point of grinding.
Yeah.
Putting in all that time and practice in the gym, it doesn't really matter. I made it now, right? No, it all builds up to it. And you got to be able to have it be your side hustle until it's your main hustle. And you
Yep.
are showing us kind of the real life version of this outside of YouTube, which I think is cool from a business point of view. And if you ever get to a point where you go past basketball, I would love to either for like a summer or something come down and try to get like a soccer thing going. Part of the
Yeah,
company
I mean,
together.
so one of the goals is not like I don't want to strictly be basketball. I
Yeah.
eventually want us to get to a point, and this is probably 10, 15 years
Oh
from now. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
anything can happen. It could happen in a year or 5 years or whatever. But just trying to keep this idea of being patient. But 10, 15 years from now, um, I plan on having a baseball field. We
Mm-hmm.
plan on having an Olympic pool and an Olympic track and a soccer field and volleyball courts, and tennis courts. Like we want to take over sports training. And I think people they set there's a difference between setting unrealistic goals and setting goals that are going to take time. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so they are very, very large goals. But definitely if we get into soccer, Mumbo,
Oh
I'm calling you and I'm
yeah.
flying you out. Okay. And we're gonna jump on the pitch and you're gonna school me because
Oh
I have
yeah.
no idea how to use my feet and a ball.
Then you're gonna dunk on
And
me.
we can what?
You're
Yeah,
gonna
I
dunk on
mean,
me.
well, maybe at one point I could have. I'm 280 pounds right now. To be honest, I've been on my fitness grind for about 2.5 weeks, been eating super clean.
How's it been going?
Like I said, I have that stomach bug, so that's been holding me back a little bit. But I was probably closer to 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And at 6'4", you kind of hold your weight decently, so it
Yep.
didn't look like it, but bro, did it feel like
Oh
it.
yeah.
And I weighed yesterday, I was 278.5, and I can't tell you the difference that 10 or 15, almost 20 pounds is made
Mm-hmm.
in 2.5 weeks. Just oh man, I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. And once I get over this sickness, dude, I feel like I'm just gonna feel like, I can't wait to just really, really start working out super, super hard.
It's fun. Working out is one like there's so many good things to working out. One of them is just constantly improving yourself. Like
Yeah.
some people do it for working out in terms of trying to impress other people, trying to get to like the Olympia. But I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people they work out to relieve stress and to just better themselves, have a more healthy lifestyle. And I
Yeah.
honestly think it's such a good thing for people to do. Whether you have access to a gym or not, just running or doing push up, like it all counts. And I think the biggest thing about being healthy is like you said eating. That's
Yeah.
where you can cut out a lot of calories. That's where you can lose weight. And I watch a couple of fitness people, and one of them said it best. They're like, if you want to invest your time into something, invest your
Yeah.
time into your diet. you know
Yeah.
to outweigh a bad diet is a very hard thing to do. So what he meant was he did a day where he ate 10,000 calories, and that was one of the hardest things he has ever did. But then he tried to
Yeah.
burn 10,000 calories the next day, and that was near to impossible. I can't remember exactly how many he got, but it just goes to show you
Yeah.
that's big scale. But even on a daily basis, you know, if you
Right.
eat unhealthy, you're getting 1,000 extra calories a day of unhealthy foods. In a week, that might end up to almost 10,000 calories, and that's a
Right.
couple pounds. And before you
Right.
know it, if you don't check a scale, you can be quickly unhealthy. But
Yeah.
at the same time, if we're talking about time investments, if you're trying to lose weight, you know, and you're
Mhm.
thinking, oh, I can go 30 minutes or hour on a cardio machine and burn 500 calories, you know, maybe you could invest that hour into working on your business and just eat
Yeah.
500 less calories in your diet. You know,
Right.
it's all
It
perspective, but
comes down to just taking it a day at a time, and
yep.
that's what I tell myself each and every day. Because I'm not gonna like I do have those moments where it's like I want to go eat a whole tub of ice cream.
Oh, same.
You know, I've done that.
Yep.
I was probably eating close to 2,000. I was probably eating 2,500 calories worth of candy. You know, just chocolate, and so and I have those really strong urges because I'm only 2.5 weeks in. It's not like that. I just
Yeah.
turned it off. It's not how it works. You know, and so just waking up and every moment just telling yourself, you know, I'm taking this one step at a time, one step at a time. And you'll find when you take everything one step at a time, you're able to conquer an entire mountain.
Yep.
Instead of setting out to conquer a mountain, set out to conquer that one step. And when you look up, you'll be at the top of the mountain,
Yep.
you know?
One meal at a time, 3 meals a day normally. You know, 21
Yeah.
meals a week. It there's a bunch of choices, and when I went vegan for 2 weeks, it wasn't because I wanted to. It was because I wanted to one see what it would do, to see if I
Yeah.
could possibly do it, and I did. And it was one of those things that was really really changing to me how just your mindset can change things.
Yeah.
I broke it up into, like I said, 3 meals a day. Sometimes it was
Yeah.
two, but most of the time 3 meals a day, 21 meals a week.
Mhm.
That's 42 meals to do it for 2 weeks. I wanted to do it for 2 weeks. That's 42 plus decisions you made to, hey, I'm going to
Yeah.
stick to this. If you do that with video games or you do that with work and you're clocking in and you decide to go to work that day or wake up that morning, you do that 42 times, I guarantee you, towards those late 40s, it's already automatic and you're not thinking about it. It makes your life a lot easier. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things with food too is like if you already know what you're going to eat and you kind of have it set, you're not thinking to yourself, oh man, it'd be so good to eat this tub of ice cream right now. I know I shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's like
Right.
you don't have to worry about that because that instant feeling of yes, this ice cream was so good quickly turns into oh crap, what did I just do? That week of
Yeah.
hard work instantly down the drain right there.
Yep.
And
Yep.
with working out, like we can kind of end it on this note too, but like anything you do, you're gonna fail a little bit. Like even trying to eat a clean, healthy diet or working out, you're gonna have the days you don't want to work out. You're gonna have the meals where
Mhm.
you don't want to eat healthy. You know, pushing through it's great, but you're to be realistic, you're gonna have the days where you don't eat healthy or you don't work out, and that
Right.
I think that's fine. Same thing with YouTube. You just got to push through it though. Don't have it
Yeah.
be, oh, you ate bad today, so I'm just going to call it for the week or I'm going to call it for the month. No, keep going. One little
Mhm.
failure, you know, on the scale of 100 successes isn't going to matter.
You have more days where you eat well than days that you don't, and you'll be good.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Easy.
Plain
Right
and
there.
simple. You know what I mean?
All right.
So
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. This was a good podcast. We're going to definitely
yeah.
have you on in the future.
Well, I
Maybe
appreciate
talk
it, man.
about some different topics. But yeah,
For
you
sure.
guys, Larky, appreciate you
Thank you
coming
guys
on.
for having me here. You take it easy now.
This is the Lead Ari podcast. We'll see you guys later. In peace.